This episode is brought to you by Audi. The road is calling. Embrace the thrill of the drive with the all-new, fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron. Featuring effortless power, serious acceleration, and advanced Audi tech. It's not just a new EV, it's a new way to experience driving. The all-new, fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron is here. The next chapter of Audi starts now.
I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does, without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
Good morning, guys. Happy Monday. Welcome to the podcast. I've got Dylan on the show, Dylan Evans, and his number one expertise is he demystifies security by simplifying how businesses can prevent internet crime, avoid losses, navigate industry, focus on audits and liability. I'm really happy to have him because he will resonate with the lawyers, finance, CEOs looking for practical, effective, and easy to implement security solutions. So, Dylan, welcome.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Briefly, I know you love off the cuff, so just introduce yourself, and we will dive right into it.
Sure. As you introduced, we're here to demystify security. I would say there's more misconceptions than truth about the industry. At this point, most people expect it to stop hackers and stuff. That is not its primary intent. Its primary intent is to make you defensible. So if you are a Fortune 500 executive muckety muck, it gives you that plausible deniability, the security industry. And this actually works really well for them, but who it doesn't work for as well, these high trust businesses that really just can't afford the crime. They want the solutions that work. So that's what we're here to provide.
Yeah. Interesting. And we'll dive right into it. And what is the number one thing that businesses can do to prevent internet crime? It's like everywhere you go is all these cookies and passwords, and it's absolutely ridiculous how much it's just go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question in return. You're a doctor, smart guy, done some research. Tell me, what's the number one thing people can do to improve their health?
There's one is start exercising. And
sure. Eating healthy, exercising. I walked into that one, didn't I? But the point is, you had a moment of, there's a million things, right? And what is most effective for you is going to be not effective, maybe, for the next person. Yeah, we probably all need more broccoli. We all need, and the fresh stuff, not the soggy stuff that comes in the frozen bag. We need to eat less meat. I need to stop getting butter snacks on my way after lunch. Sure. But everybody's health risk profile is different, right? And even within eating healthier or exercising more, what good exercise looks like for me might look very different for somebody else. I can't run worth a darn. I find it so boring and so painful. But you know what I do like to do? I like 1 hour walks at about 4.5 miles an hour with about 50 pounds on my back. That I can do, especially if there's someone that I can talk to at the same time. That is a really good solution for me and who I am.
Interesting. The next question is, what hackers and just cyber criminals are getting more and more sophisticated, and what software can businesses use to implement or a cyber crime defensive strategy?
Yeah. Oh man, I'm going to hit you again. That's like asking the question, what pills do I need to take to make this not a problem anymore? It's not pills, man. Pills are part of it, right? But it's the easy stuff. There's a lot of marketing dollars saying that what you need is a lot of tech spend. You need software. You need fancy widgets that blink in your closet. You need services that cost $25K a month that, full of techno wizards that watch all the stuff and respond. And I don't know, people wearing balaclavas and typing green screen on their laptops. Nah. For most of us, the threat is not that fancy. Nobody out here is living in the equivalent of, we all think we're living in the security version of House, right? The stuff that comes up on House is not the stuff in your regular general practitioner's life, right? Weird tropical diseases with comorbidities of who knows what. It's not that. It's not China. Who is after you is some poor schlep in a call center in Bulgaria, and he got your name and your number because you tried, I don't know, from somewhere, and he's just trying to scam you, right? It's boring. It's super boring. Maybe someone broke into your email and they're going to send an invoice to your best customer or log into your bank and they're just after money. You're just a lead in a surprisingly boring industry of crime.
Yeah. Interesting. So then the next question is talking about just what are some of the trends that we should be aware of in terms of what emerging threats should businesses be most concerned about in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. That's a fun one. The whole problem with this industry is it moves fast. So if you go for checkbox approaches to security, like, oh, do I have the multi-factors? Do I have the antiviruses? You're going to be in the dust real fast because the standard boring multi-factor that is being like the bottom shelf stuff that's like the easiest to implement, easiest to build out, doesn't work anymore. Hasn't worked for 2 years. You can buy commodity software from crime rings that get around it real fast, real easy. It's real boring. An antivirus hasn't worked for 10 plus years, yet people still buy it. You will never be good at knowing about security, just like reading WebMD doesn't help you a lot for knowing, your true medical risks. And I don't think it's wise for any of us to try. Like, what we need to do is think about the real threats. What are the threats to my health? Going to get fat, cholesterol. Actually, I forget to eat, so I'm probably not going to get fat, but I don't exercise, so the cholesterol thing is real. For some companies, their threats are simple accounts payable fraud. Someone running off getting them to pay an invoice to maybe the wrong checking account and stealing $20K to go. For others, I think you mentioned the lawyers in the audience. If my divorce lawyer loses my file and it gets posted and someone emails me saying, hi, I have everything that you told your lawyer about the worst part of your life, that is beyond terrible to me, right? Send me 100 million or I will post it on Facebook. That I am at my worst moment. And that is a very scary thing. I'm not just going to sue my lawyer. I'm going to stab him. This is very important to me. So what is important to someone who does a lot of churn in terms of money, like maybe a title company, going to be very different than someone who does high trust business. And that's going to be very different than someone who does a clothing resale outlet in a mall, who probably has almost no security concerns to speak of, except maybe a somewhat up-to-date credit card terminal.
Interesting. So moving the conversation onwards is just talking about this. How do emotions and human behavior impact cybersecurity risk, and how can businesses address these vulnerabilities?
Yeah. That's a really good question. That's the best question, right? Okay, I'll give you one. We are all overconfident. We judge ourselves by our intentions and our best efforts. And we judge other people by their failures and like their worst outcomes, right? And what that often does is it gives us a false sense of superiority that we can do things better, right? Oh, I can do the plumbing better than hiring that guy for $200 an hour. And then it's 6 hours later on our third or fourth trip to Home Depot, right? In a similar way, I think a lot of businesses, especially smaller businesses that are still maybe at most one level of management deep, 40, 50 people, have a problem letting go of things they're not good at. And I'll give you two examples. I guarantee that you are not good at IT or finance. These are established industries. There's a lot of excellence in there. Unless you're an accounting firm, unless you're an IT firm, you probably shouldn't be doing much of either. Somewhat outsource that stuff. A scalable company that maybe distributes your AP, your AR, your financial projections, does your bill collection for you, they're going to do a better job all day long, and they're going to be a lot more resistant to the crime risk that we all face than you can spin up on your own.
Yeah. Follow-up question I have for you is, what are some practical ways companies can foster a security-first mindset among their employees?
I have beef with this question. As you might suspect, right? I don't think they should. Think about doctors, okay? Should a doctor be cared about anything else except, I don't know, good patient outcomes? Like, what are the procedures that are going to work best right now for my area? Maybe I'm a laparoscopic, who knows what, right? And I want the best robots. I want the fanciest, I don't know, little doodads that go in the arteries and the robots and the stuff. If my company is not making, if my hospital is pushing the onus of good security onto me, they are failing.
Interesting.
They need to structure my work so I can focus what I'm good at and make the easiest way for me to do risky activities also a very protected way. Usually easier than it looks.
Next question I have for you is, how do cybersecurity needs differ for industries like law, finance, and startups? And what advice do you have for leaders in these fields?
Mm-hmm. I think it totally depends. It depends on everybody, right? I would say people think it's too complicated. It's not complicated. If you have a good friend, just sit down with them. For someone with a sensible head on their shoulder, sit down for a couple hours and think, what kind of crime could really hurt? And my business, maybe, have my revenue, things like that. Okay. Is there any single action, single bad event that could end up making that happen? This is a tremendously valuable exercise that very few people do. And you often find out things like, Pam, the office manager, signs all the checks, approves all the invoices, has complete control over the books. Maybe disbursements over 100,000 should be gated, not just through Pam, have some sort of, oh, by the way, Pam just authorized a $200 million check. Maybe somebody else, you have another check in place. Doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah. So final question I have for you is how can people find you and follow you and reach out to you and learn more about you?
Sure. We're on social media, LinkedIn, a lot of LinkedIn. We put out a lot of content trying to explain the easy, right ways of stopping crime for those who want to know. I would love to hear your audience's questions, your folks' problems in this space. What should we cover next? We would love to do it. We got a TikTok channel, I think. We got a Instagram. We're slowly rolling it up. Simple Salt is the name of the company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm a salty guy.
Interesting.
We're getting there.
Yeah. Excellent. I love a bonus question is how do you strike the right balance between making systems secure and ensuring they remain user-friendly?
Oh, that's a real Zen question. That's a real tree falls in the forest. Is anyone around to hear it? And there are a million examples. And what is the Tao of good user experience? Because you want to encourage people that the right way to do something is the easiest way for them to do it.
Interesting.
It's hard, but there's an art. We could probably help you do it.
Yeah. The other question is, what are your thoughts about AI in cybersecurity?
Ooh, it's bad news. Because AI is really good at sounding believable, but not actually being right. That's a pro and the con. But it's super persuasive. But you know who? That's a perfect market fit for scammers, for the internet crime industry, because they don't care if what they say is true. They just want to be persuasive enough for you to click the thing or disperse the payment or whatever. They don't care what they have to say to get there. And this new generative AI is a perfect fit for that. So we're already seeing vastly more sophisticated attacks for pennies, right? That used to have a call center of people going through the scripts, calling everybody and trying to bilk grandmas out of their thousands because you're in Mexican prison or something, and they're pretending to be you. It's so much cheaper now, and I suspect we're going to have now. I think the Department of Commerce or whoever does the jobs numbers probably doesn't track call center scam artist unemployment rates. But I think a fair amount of the grunt work will be laid off in the next couple of years if they aren't already, and the rest of us are going to get this flood of very persuasive scam attempts.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, excellent. Thanks so much for coming on, and really happy to have you, and thanks so much for your expertise.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.